Hello all, this is Michael from Exclusively Comics and Entertainment, and I wanted to welcome you to another episode today, and we are going to be discussing the box office numbers of Suicide Squad this week, an opening week, and wow, it's amazing. Seriously, it is just crazy. The numbers that Suicide Squad got this week. It said that Suicide Squad, and this is from the article in the Hollywood Reporter. I will link the article in the description. But in 4,002 North American theaters, Suicide Squad brought in a $26.5 million return. That is crazy. The film worldwide, in 71 markets, the Suicide Squad brought in a tally of $45 million, $45.7 million, and globally $72.2 million. The budget and the cost and the price tag of Suicide Squad was $185 million. So, anyway, I think that this is some really growing trends for these big budget Hollywood films. We are going to see a systematic change in the way that these films are produced. I think that actors and actresses are going to be seeing a reduction in their salaries. Now, many people say, well, it's because of the simultaneous release of Suicide Squad on HBO Max that these numbers happen. And I went over that it was a different model in which AT&T, which is really in control of this stuff, with Time Warner Media, has put on HBO Max, that it was based on new subscription buys of the product so that people can watch the movies. I'm one of them. Well, when something that I want to watch comes out, it's a Time Warner movie, I'll subscribe to HBO Max. They have a good DC comic book movie library, some animated films, that's great, but you gotta have a budget, not unless you're a millionaire these days. So I was anticipating the Suicide Squad. I was wanting to see it, and I think a lot of this has to do with the resurgence that there is in the pandemic, and that people just do not want to go to indoor theaters at home, not when they can go and put in massive theater systems themselves in their own home. I'm one of the guilty ones on that, and enjoy movies in the comfort of your own home. Said you don't get the same experience as you do in theaters. That's true, but it's a different world, and I think that we're going to see Time Warner do something on their releases to these films. Maybe have a pay window like Disney Plus does on their subscriptions to to their, their new release movies. The Jungle Cruise, still a dismal return, based upon the budget. It's, if anything, we see that it's really hard that second week to get a recovery. The only recent movie that's been released that has had any success has been Fast 9. And that's because it had a huge market grab in China. But I don't know. It just seems that, the overspending on these big blockbuster movies is going to probably come to a halt. Because studios are going to have to reevaluate how they make movies. Maybe they shouldn't, I don't know, but, and paying these actors and actresses these astronomical salaries, it's going to be restructured. And, why did Suicide Squad fail? It was an overall a decent movie, but I really think that the reason primarily for this movie's failure is the grotesque nature of the violence that was in this film, especially during the opening sequences, and the gore that was there. I mean, parents just don't want to take their children to see that sort of thing, and I can not blame them. The characters had good story arcs. Everyone did a okay job. The story overall was good. The main villain in the entire film is the U.S. government, which is kind of interesting. I don't think that really was a good tone, particularly in this day and this hour. I may be wrong, but I think that films right now need to have a positive message and give hope. But it is really a testament for the lackluster, from not just lackluster, the failure at the box office for this performance. I mean, we can pretty much see the handwriting on the wall. Suicide Squad is dead. It was not well received. I don't think it's going to do well continuing to be in theaters. There has to be some sort of new model for Time Warner to come out with. It is a readjustment for studio execs and how films are produced. I think we're going to see films take longer to produce and be more budget oriented, and these directors and these people that are wasting all of this money is really going to have to reevaluate the way that they do business. You're going to have to at least have a sort of CFO that is going to have to be right there during production, and when everything is going into production for this, for all of these visual effects that is done, after the fact that they're filmed, the acting is filmed, that you're going to have to see some people cut some cost. And I know from my point of view, I'm getting ready to film my first film, and really don't know which direction that I'm going to be going in that. I know that instead of going to all these exotic locations, because I can't do that. I'm going to be going using miniature sets, and I don't have a budget for a whole lot of actors and actresses. We'll just have some amateur ones, and it's primarily going to be me and interaction and CGI effects that's going to be in this. There's some cool things that I want to bring to my film or films, and I have two that really I'm looking forward to producing. One is sort of a zombie film, and the other one is sort of a fantasy film. But and they'll probably take a year or two to produce, but I'm going to do it because I have a desire to do filming. I think that we're going to see less production cost in these films, and it's sad that a franchise like the Suicide Squad, which was a fun type of movie for adults, I don't want a child to see that film. It's gross in some respects. I almost turned it off at the beginning of the film. But it's really sad to see the performance of this film. I held off on releasing a review of the film because I didn't want to give any spoilers out, and to those who haven't watched the film yet, and because I like to give a chance for people to view it and to have their own opinions of a film before you put out any reviews on it. It's one of those things that's going on, and I think that we are seeing the landscape of Hollywood that's fixing to really change. And it's not that there's not money out there, but it's reevaluating and making it to where it's more accessible to people. And I think that we don't know the numbers per se of the new subscriptions to HBO Max, which $15 is not bad for a complete library of films. But $15 for a pay-per-view film, instead of going to the box office would not have been a bad charge either. I think $30 is just a little bit too high, to be honest. I think about $15 is good. I would probably, have it not on opening week. You're still going to release films in theaters. We have Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, that's fixing to come out. We've had delays on Spider-Man and Venom 2, and those films may be delayed for a year. You don't know. We do not know. And we want these films out there. We want to see, these films, like we want to see the, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and all these different great possibilities that there is. The Disney Plus series What If is coming out as a result of Loki's or Sylvie's version of Loki's dealings in the series of Loki. And if anybody wants to go watch a good series, go watch Loki. It's got some great acting and great writing in it, in my opinion, and I have a review over that. And so this is what's happened with the dismal review of Suicide Squad. And it's not for everybody. There's too much language in it. For my taste, there's too much gore in it, as I've said, particularly in the beginning of the film. It's got good story arcs and everything else. John Cena does a great job playing his character, but there is an overall political message in the film, and I think it leads people to think, which is James Gunn does a good job in conveying that to the audience. So we see that this has happened, and it's a big, huge shocker. It's no justification for it. I mean, it's, the Birds of Prey, which I have not watched. I've heard it's terrible. I don't know if it's terrible or not, and while I still have HBO Max, I may review that movie. I love reviewing movies and bringing them to you. I like to do older movies that's out there. I'm not really keen on doing the new stuff and then putting it out there the day of the review. I know everybody races to get everything out there, and that's great. I'm glad that they do that, but you know what? I'm not much on spoilers. I want to experience the movie for myself, and that's what I believe all of us should do. And it's to get views, because people want to know whether it's worth watching or not worth watching. I get that, but we're definitely entering a new phase in Hollywood. And I said this last time on the podcast, and I believe that it is ringing true today. So anyway, I hope that each of you enjoyed this episode, and that you will like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I put that warning out there. This is not for a Suicide Squad. This is not a movie for children. This is not a movie that you want your child to see. It's just not. They need to edit it down to where it's PG-13 and edit the junk out of it. I know that this is made for the purest comic book fans, but you know what? When you make a product, you're not just making it for a niche market. When you get into some marketing techniques, you have to make it for a wide variety of artists. And I think that is one of the reasons why this film underperformed. Is this film was made for a niche market and of people that like those gore type movies, and it's not going to appeal to people that want to sit down with their families and watch a film together. I mean, if I would have been sitting with my family and watching this film, I would have turned the film off, because I don't want children exposed to the gore and to the violence. And just to simply have gore and violence like that is not a good thing. And it to me, it tells, and I'll be a critic of James Gunn, to me it tells a lack of depth in the storytelling. You can tell a story without all the gore and without all the violence, and still have your message that you want to convey in the film. So anyway, these are my thoughts. These are my opinions. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.